Okay, guys, let's go. So I'm super happy to be with you today, and I hope this will be a session, a cool session. And last time I didn't code anything, and today I hope we are going to see a lot of stuff done on the command line and also some JavaScript code. So maybe we can just jump in the game. This will be in three, more or less in three parts. So what you are going to see in the screen. This is the last part and the goal of what we're going to do today. But before, we are going to do it by steps. And I will try to make it in 1 hour, but maybe it will take 1 hour on 15 minutes. If you have to leave, leave. And for sure, you can find the recording on Core Lightning community on Bold on L2 or in LN Room with the write-up that I will put when I have time. So let's go. The thing of today is to introduce us to commando, which is a command offered by Core Lightning nodes that allows any node which is connected to another node to send it commands to be run on its machine. So, for instance, if I have the node, I can and also I must say that the node you connect to and you send it, for instance, getinfo to have some information about its node, will let you do that command on that request only if you have a rune, and we are going to see what is a rune on how to use them. It's just a token of a restriction. So if I am a node and I have a rune that some node give me with some command that I can do with commando, I can send those commands like getinfo or list peers or list fund, and the node will say, it will check the restriction on the rune and say, okay, with that token that you have that I gave you before, you can do those things. So this allows, for instance, you to use it with your own node, so with other applications. So we are going to write a nodejs command line that use commando to produce invoices on a node that we have the rune and we manage that node. But you can think of, let's say that you want to just give to your accounting department access to the node, but only of certain bookkeeper command, for instance. You can produce a rune that just restrict to a certain part of the node. So this is really a secure way to do it. So stop talking, and we are going to start to do stuff, because this is always a up. Yes, we're going to go back to that things after. So we have the plan. Before we start, just to note, there is a pull request actually, which changes some of the command about rune. So maybe in the future, if you use that video or the write-up of that videos, maybe this won't be a command rune, but create rune on the list rune, commando list rune. So, but this is for the future. But I prefer to just say it right now. Some library that you might want to check after. So today we are going to use lnmessage from Aaron, and there is also lnsocket. So lnmessage is targeted to JS, and lnsocket is targeted to other JS2, but also I think it can target Go or other languages. And if you are interested to know more about the implementation and the definition of what is a rune, this is a library written in Python here. And there are the other party used in Core Lightning, which is written in C in the CCAN, so C libraries. Okay, so I have a bunch of main pages that are already open. So if I show you, this is all the buffers, so you can think about the windows that are open with some main page about the command. This is really, so if you want to have the main page of invoice at the command line, you write man lightning invoice and you have the main page, and we're going to use some of them. This is why I've already them open. So let's get started with the first part of the plan. And I don't know if I said it before, but I will do the first part more or less. I will make a break on in that break where we can talk. I will look at the chat. Then I will go to the second part. There will be a break at the end, and so forth and so on. So let's do what we want to do. So we are going to start directly by creating a rune. So this is all the steps that I want to do in that order to really show the API behind this. So we have the I am in that directory. We have the CLN scratch. We don't care. This is just my my drafts. Lightning, this is the Lightning repository that we are going to use one script. We have getinfo.js and invoice.js because I have already some boilerplate to do that session with you. So the first thing we do in all of those live and videos is to use that script that allows us to start Lightning networks with in our case, 2 nodes that run on a reg test, so we can test the things, everything all locally and do whatever we want. So we are starting a Bitcoin reg test with one wallet, which is called default, and we have 2 nodes. And to see, this is an alias for Lightning CLI with the Lightning directory being /temporary/L1 -regtest. So we are going to work with that one. So the nodes are not connected right now, but what we are going to do is the node 1 will create a rune, and the node 2 will get some information or send some request to the node L2, to the node L1 with the rune that the node L1 give it to him. So first, because if we don't connect the node, this is something that is important. Connect is not a command from Lightning from CLN. This is a command from the scripts that we have, so it's easier for us. The 2 nodes are now connected, and we can check that with list here. So we have the node 1 and 1 peer, which is the node L2, and now the node L1 will create commando-rune. So just think of this is a token with some restriction that we can give to someone. Okay. So we specify nothing. The rune are written in a base, encoded in base 64 with as we can see here. And there is a message that is really important, is that the master rune that we've just produced, the node L1 produce, it has no restriction. So that means if you give it to someone, also some application that you don't trust, they can release withdraw do anything they want with their your node. And this is what we are going to do. And we have that rune. We can decode that rune to see the restriction of that rune. So we can use the command decode that also work with bolt 11, bolt 11 on bolt 12 invoices. So here, as this end with the padding of the base 64 that has the two equal sign, we have to pass it with the dash key. So we pass with a key value pair, and the first key is string, and this should give us the information. This is a valid rune. It has a unique ID, so it's a new rune, new master rune. I say master rune because from one rune that have some restriction, we can add other restriction after. We're going to see that after, but this is why we see, I say master rune, we have the string, and right now we see we have no restriction. So we can do absolutely anything we want if we pass it to someone. So let's look. Now we want to use the command commando. So let's go to the main page of commando. So this is the main page, and when the node L2 is going to use Lightning CLI, blah blah, he has to take the peer ID, so to target the peer, the method he wants to use, the params. So the params in our case for getinfo will be nothings, and the rune. So we are going to construct that, not here, but in the node. Maybe we can go there. So this is how we construct that thing. So we are going to do L2 CLI, because it's easier for me to do it there. After I'm going to paste it in the terminal, but this way I can use everything. So the peer ID, go back to the terminal. This is the node L1 that generates a rune. So we need the node L1 ID, getinfo aq-r, and we restrict to the ID. So this is the ID. So we pass the ID. Now we want the method. So the method that we are going to use is getinfo. No parameter, so I think that we can pass, this is null, that we save for things that there is no parameters, and we have to pass it the rune. And the rune is at the top here. So we copy the rune, we have it here. Okay, so this is the command line that we want to use. So here ID, the getinfo method, null, and for sure I have first to put commando. No parameters because this is the getinfo, so we pass null, and we give it the rule. We passed that, and we should see this, and we can see if we go there that the node ID that we have is the node ID of L1. So what we did is we use the capacity of the node to send them messages. We send to the node L1 the commando method, and we said that we want to apply the getinfo, and we have a rune that that say if we can do it or not, if we are allowed to do that or not. So this is the case. So we get access to that. Something that I want to do now let's see in the node. So we have done create rune, decode rune, L2 reach the L1 and have the things, and now fund L1 with BT CLI. So what we want to do, okay, so this is not with BT CLI right now, but there is a command in the script that will let us open a channel between the node L1 and the node L2, and this will also put one Bitcoin in the wallet of the node L1. And we are going to see that as we have an unrestricted rune, the node L2 with that unrestricted rune can withdraw the money of the node L1. So really, when we use runes, we have to be careful of what we do. So right now we are mining some address in regtest. They go to the default wallet in regtest, and then we open to a channel. So this script contrib startup regtest is really interesting. If you want to try things out rapidly, you can do some of the stuff like that, and then try if you write a plugin or if you write any application and you want to play at the command line. So let's see. Let's go back in the node, and now we are going to withdraw something. We are waiting for I think the 6th confirmation to have the channel open. Okay, L1 CLI, and we can do list funds. So we can see we have one channel open, and we also have the wallet. And the wallet, we see this is the amount. This is so 1 Bitcoin minus what we put in the channel, which is, I think, a point. Well, I don't remember exactly what the amount is here in millisat. Okay. So now we want the node L2 to use the command the command commando with the peer ID and do some stuff and withdraw. So to withdraw, do we have this one? Yes. So in the so this is the man page of the withdraw command. So to withdraw something, when you want to withdraw your node, your Lightning node, funds in your Lightning node that are not in the channel, and you want to put it somewhere else, we have to pass a destination, so an address, and the amount. In Satoshi, we can put all if we want to withdraw everything. So this is exactly what we are going to do, and this way we are going to see how do we pass those parameters that we didn't pass before when we used commando. So we have this. So this is still, so we the same way. I'm constructing the command line. When we are doing what we do, it's not elegant or easy to do it at the command line, but normally this will be something that is done by your at the application level. So we don't see all those stuff happening, but we do it here at the command line to see everything that is happening. So still, we have to commando peer ID. That time we are going to pass -k commando, and we are going to pass peer ID equal. So sorry, I don't want to. So okay, first line, second line. You see the backslash at the end. This is for multiple line in in the terminal. We want the method. So by key value, we pass the method. Space. Now, this is the thing that before we add null, but now we are going to pass params, because what do we want? We want to pass. So this is a JSON object that we pass, and we want, this is the node L2 that want to withdraw everything from the node L1, because the node L2 has a rune that is unrestricted. So we can, we need now to have some address to send that money. So new, we go to the node L2 and we ask for an address to send something. So this is called destination. So we follow destination, a string, this is that one, and a comma, and we want Satoshi. So this has a field of the command withdraw that we see here. Maybe like that it's better to see them. And we pass now. So I put equal, sorry, this is not equal, this is a JSON notation, so this is a colon, Satoshi, and we can pass all because we really want everything from that node. So we have the param, this is okay, and we need the last one, which is important, which is the rune. Okay, so let's see that again. Maybe we're going to see that correctly. So how to do that? That way. Let's go to the terminal. We passed it, and this is what we see. So this is L2 CLI that use commando to the peer of the node L1. So this is, I have to change, the method is not getinfo, sorry. So this is withdraw. Okay, so let's do it again. We go to the terminal. We pass to that. Commando peer ID, method withdraw. We pass the parameter. We pass the address of the node L2 and the rune. Okay, so it seems to work. Let's see if it works correctly. As we are running reg test ourselves, there we have to mine one block to see this happening. So how do we mine a block? So we go here, and there is something that I don't want to write, so that we don't lose time. So BTCLI is just an alias for Bitcoin CLI with that target reg test. We want from the wallet default that has been built previously, and we want a new address because we want to mine a block that send the reward to that address. Now, we are back in the terminal. We passed this, and this is still BTCLI, and we generate one address to. So this is not that that one, because that one was from the so this is the new one. We generated one new block. We have to wait a little bit because Core Lightning pull information from the Bitcoin chain, but not every second. So maybe it's, I don't know exactly, but maybe in 20 seconds it will be okay. We're going to do a list fund and see how it goes. Okay, so let's see that the node L1 lost its funds. So list fund, and we see the first output that have nothing. So we have to take care when we use runes, because it is powerful enough to give the total power to some application that ask you for a rune. But when you generate a rune, you are the master of the thing that you want to do. So let's go back to the note, and we see what we have to do. So we've seen that. Okay, so we've done that first part. So we create a rune unrestricted. We do a commando getinfo, so we have the info. But we've seen also that as a rune is unrestricted, we can do anything we want, and we can withdraw. So maybe I will take some question if you have a question, and I will continue after. So just 2 minutes. This way I can also take a brief. So if you have question or comments, this is the moment. Okay, so no question. So we can continue, and maybe there are some steps that we are going to skip in order to do it entirely. Blah blah blah. Fund L1, we have that. Okay, so now we are going to what we said before is that when we have a master rune, we can derive other runes with restriction. So this is really a powerful aspect of those tokens. Let's L1. Maybe this is a rune. So man page runes, commando-runes, and we see the commando-runes. The first time we just used commando-rune with nothing, so, and we get runes. But now we are going to use one rune and use also a restriction. And the restriction are we can see. We are going to see how to write them at right now. There's one specific room which is, so maybe L1 CLI, and we can list commando list runes. So we have that we've generated only one master runes, and now we can generate a new one, commando, with keyword key pair value, key value pairs, commando, and we want so we want, donc the name is rune, so we pass the rune, so from that rune, and we want to add a restriction. Restriction, is it okay? Yes. And there is one which is called read only. Normally here we pass arrays of restriction that that accumulate from the one with the others. Parameter restriction. This may be cause. So what? So let me. Okay, normal. It's because I called commando and I had to call commando rune. You spot my error. So now we have a new rune, and as it is a descendant of the other runes that we still can use, this doesn't create a new master rune and so won't be listed. But now let's see if we can decode that that rune. So we can see L1 CLI to see what does that mean read only. L1 decode, and we can pass the rune directly like that. And that time we have more information of the rune. So the unique ID, if we need to blacklist it, that we are going to do after, the string, and we can see the array of restriction. And this is a moment we can see how we would have write those alternatives, which is, so we are allowed of all the method that starts by list, all the methods that start by get, and the method that is called summary. So we have that. We have some other information here in English if it's clear or not for us. Another alternative, this is the command, the method list data star. I don't remember the slash, so we can go to command-rune and see the operator. So we've seen so far the operator equal. We've seen the caret and this one, so not equal to withdraw. Okay, so this not equal. So we want, yes, because we want all the list, but not list data store. So what we can do now is we won't be able to withdraw. We are not going to see it because it's long to type everything to see if it works or not. But we don't do it. But we can do one thing, which is the still use that new. No, okay, it's sorry. So as I don't want to be stuck in that part of the live, just we've seen how to generate to add a restriction to a rune, the restriction read only. We could have also made a rune directly with read only to be sure that we don't allow withdraw or pay or some of those things. Let's maybe just L1 CLI commando-rune and commando-rune at the top. We can pass a rune or nothing. So let's not pass, we pass no rune, and we could have done something like that. But if we do that, we are going to have read only a new rune, a new token. The restriction, maybe it's because I should have written this like that. So because I don't put the -k, so we have that, and now we see that we have a new unique ID, and this new master rune is a rune with only read-only access. So we can commando list to see that we have various commando. What is the next? So list runes. Okay, and maybe less to see everything. So we see that we have the first rune, and we can go there, and I don't see them. So list rune, maybe it's better like that. So they are okay. It's because the first one. So we see that we have the unique ID 0 and the other one. Last thing before we go with Node.js and the lnmessage library is what do we do if we want to blacklist a rune. Let's say in the case that we are the node L1, the first rune that the first master rune that we created, allow everything, and we give it to someone, and this is a problem. So we can blacklist. That means that the rune can no longer exist, and any derivative of the master rune won't be we won't be able to use it. The nodes that have or the application that have that rune won't be able to use it. So this is something that we can do with blacklist. So command the blacklist, and on the blacklist take start and end, which means on the start is the unique ID that we've seen so far in the list of commander runes are incremented each time we produce a new master rune. So if we want to remove a range of runes, we can do it giving the start and the end. But in our case, the only one that we want to blacklist is the number 1. So we go back to the terminal and we do L1 CLY commando rune blacklist, and it has the ID 0. So it has been blacklisted. So we should see this in if we list that. So let's or maybe see. Normally this should be commando list list runes, and let's go at the top, and yes, we see that. So the first rune that we've used is now blacklisted, and if we try to do a getinfo to with that rune, this won't work. And maybe we can do that to commando commando getinfo. I think that this was this one. Okay, this was. It seemed that this was sorry, this is the one that we used at the beginning. So we tried to do a getinfo with the rune that we had at the beginning, and now as we blacklisted it, we have that message error, which is not authorized to use a blacklisted rune. So to summarize what we did so far, and what is all about commando. With commando rune, a node can generate a rune, which is a token with restriction on the command that can be used on the node. We can pass that rune to some application, and with the restriction, we'll be able to query the node. So we can do many restrictions. When we generate the rune, the first rune that is generated, this is a master rune. It is listed, and we can add restriction to that rune as we go. So this is one thing that we can do. If we think that there is one rune that shouldn't be used, no longer used, we can blacklist it. So we've done that with two nodes. Remember that if we use commando with a rune to send a request to a node that gave us the rune, we need to be connected. And the application that just connect to a node don't need to be a full node, but just to implement the part that is related with the connection to a node. So this is done via Bolt 8 and also I think Bolt 1, but this is to have the connection. So we connect to a node and then we can, if we have a rune, we can send messages with the commando. Oh, lot of talk. So let me brief. There is one, maybe a question or something. Okay, so I need to run, but thank you. This was interesting and helpful. Okay, I know how to experiment and testnet. So cool, Todd. So just I will drink a little bit of water and we go with Node.js. Okay, so we did the preparatory part, and now let's write a little command line that will just do a getinfo on Node.js. So what we are going to do now, we are not going to the node that is going to give us something. At that point, I should have put just L2 because we don't care about L1 anymore, and we are going to use it in the next part. Right now, this is L2 that will create a read-only route, and it will give us, we are going to get this information and use it in the Node.js, use it lnmessage and see how we can get the info. And the important part is that commando is possible only if we connect to a node. So the getinfo.js command line application in some way is a partial peers of L2. And this is interesting, if we're going to see it, is that really when we list the peers of L2, we will see a peer that comes from nowhere, but which is the getinfo. So let's see that. Getinfo. This is the boilerplate that we have at the beginning. So we import lnmessage. We need the net module for here to have a new TCP socket, and we instantiate that lnmessage, so lnmessage object with the class lnmessage, and we need some information which is the node ID and why I say node L1. Let's do it directly with the node L2. Node ID, node IP, node port, and we also need the rune. And we see, so we have to pass the remote node public key node ID. There are much more how to say, properties that we can set to do it differently. This is possible to do it also with WebSocket, but it's not what we are going to do today. Today we do it the most simple way to get it working. We need the TCP socket, the IP, and the port, and then we are going to need the rune only when we do the commando, we send the commando message. So let's go back to a terminal, and now we want L2 CLI, and we want get info JQ, and what do we need? We don't need everything, so we need the ID, and we also need the binding, if I'm not wrong. So let's copy all of this. So, we put it because this is the node ID of the node L2. Fine. First thing first. Then we need the address. We have the address, the node port, which is 7272. So I try to go fast, but follow along. So far, this is enough. We the rune, we don't need it because we have already, we can see here. So we have all of those things set, and we should be able to connect. So with ln connect. So this is the method which is async. This is why we use a wait here, and I hope this will work. And first, before we do that, we don't need the rune so far because we are just going to see that we connect to the node L2. But alias L2 CLI, because we are going to need it in another terminal. So this is another terminal. You can see at the bottom in the row in the mode line blue or green, I don't know, the 2 to say we are in the second terminal. And we are going to do this here, CLI list peers. Normally we just have one peer, which is the node L1. So we have one peer. Okay. Now let's start the getinfo. Okay, so normal. I think that it happened at least in three live sessions. So I didn't install lnmessage. So let's install it. We have it installed, and we need package.json. We need to put type, which is module. Okay, so now we should be able to do that. And this is really, and as we connected to the, we are connected to the other, to the node L2, we don't return, okay? Let's go to the other terminal, and we see we just have one peer. But we just have to do that. Now we can see that we have two peers, and the new that we have, the new peers, is the nodejs script that is running. So I don't know for you, but it's just so it's super cool. So if you want to read the implementation of how it's done, I think that lnmessage is less than 2,000 lines of code. So, and there are parts that are not related to the connection, but really, it's so cool. So now let's keep going and make things happen. We're going to need a rune. And now what we can do is to set that variable or constant to getinfo, and we want ln, which is our lnmessage object. We want to commando, and we pass it as parameter an object which have so we need to have the I will be the method. Let's go for something this one, getinfo. Now the parameters, we've seen there is no parameters, so we give it the empty array, and we have to pass it a rune, and it is defined in that variable that we don't have so far. As we are with the node L2, we can generate a node, so L1. Let's see if we can. I mean I no longer need we no longer need the second, so I kill. No, I will let it, but this is not the one that I want. I want this one, and now we need this node to give us a rune. So L1 commando-rune, and we need the read only, and we don't make the mistake to do it with L1 but with L2. So now we have a rune, a tokens with the restriction read only that we've seen before, that we can use and pass to our script here, and we are going to put it in a rune, and to be sure we see the same thing. So we have the rune that we define here, and we use it in the ln commando. So in the getinfo now we are going to have the result, which is getinfo the node L2, and let's log it, and we log getinfo, so we are to see it at the in the terminal, and we can disconnect, because if we don't disconnect, we are going to hang as we hunged. I don't know, as we hung before. So let's go back here and call it again, which is getinfo. Promise pending. This is not what I was expected. So let's see what I'm doing the wrong way. Blah blah blah. Okay, so it's not fun when we do something, when I do something wrong like that. So let me see if I can. Okay, so the error message is so there's something. It seems that the rune is okay. Do we have to change that? Let's try again. So we are going to see if it works. This is not that this was input. I was so happy of what was happening. So we have commando parent. One moment, I will see, and the library, I will go in that one. So one second, huh? I try to see what I'm doing wrong. So the connection is okay. We connect, which seems to be okay. Okay, so from this is what we have from the README. So method. Okay. The spot sorry. So really not what the error I expected to do, but I did it, and it's on me. So the parameter are done that way. Okay, so I have no excuses. But it's true when you write some JSON in the terminal, and after you go, still not the. Okay, so you win. when you win, not before, not after. So let's try to see if we get the error at that moment. So we don't have any error there. Is this a console? It seems that we can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. So this is the one. Parents, the room, maybe. I'm looking for something I'm missing. So maybe we can pass the rune here and see ln disconnect. Let's go back to the terminal. I get the same errors. I will try something else. So let's do commando-rune, and in that one we pass no restriction, and I want to see if this is something like that I'm not doing correctly. So we are going to check that. So we change. So this didn't come from that. Ha! I get it. Sorry. So for the one that are here, you've seen that yes. So this should work. So this is we should use await because commando is an async. And maybe if I was better at JavaScript, I would have understood that error message. But let's see, maybe this, it works. So cool. This is what's really fun when we do lives, is that a lot of wrong things can happen. So let's do it that way. So rune. And we have it this because I want to be sure that this works also with the thing. So let me resume the error that I've done. So connect is async, so we have to call it with await. The same way commando ln.commando is async, so we have to call it the same way. Here I've done the mistake to write it as if it was the JSON notation, that this is not the JSON notation here. This is just the JavaScript object. And now we can pass it to the getinfo, and we disconnect to not hang at the command line. We do it again to be sure that this is working. And the node ID that we have is the node ID of the node L2, and we can check the Lightning directory, which is L2. So let's go back to our node and see what we did. Okay, so we found the way to do that second part. Cool. So still with me. We go with that one, and I will do my best to do it in in 50 minutes if I can. But this is this one is really interesting because this is really what what I sold you at the beginning, which is that we are going to write the invoice.js, which is going to be a script that takes 2 arguments and do some on the generate invoice, and L1 can pay those invoice. And this is also the moment where we can do a little bit more about the restriction, because we can the restriction we can restrict for the method. Maybe we just want, if to be sure that nothing's go wrong with the applications that we give our runes or we write, we can restrict to a specific method. For instance, if we just want to have some web page or that generate an invoice with some amount when someone needs it, up a rune with a restriction to the invoice method. Maybe we don't want to have too many spam, so we don't want bots to query on spam or not. So we can put a rate, another restriction to our rule, and maybe I won't do this one with the time we have left, but we also can add a time restriction, and the time restriction is with integers that are with the epoch from 1970, I think, if I'm not wrong. So maybe we skip that part, but I think that we can do the other part, and at the end we add that's the way that it can be queried at the command line. So if you need to leave, feel free to leave. I'm sorry for maybe for the too much time that is taking, but I really want to have all we are doing today in one piece. So let's go do it, and we've just done the difficult part, if we can say that. So invoice, we are not going to rewrite everything. We already have that part that is working. So node L2, this is just, I've just copied exactly what we have from we have that from the getinfo.js that we did before. So okay, we have those information that have changed. The rune, we are going to change it. We still do the ln. Now, let's say we want to be a little bit more, not professional, but we can add something like connected, and maybe we can say, okay, if connected, do something, and the thing that we are going to do is either that. This is to be sure that this is still not to be sure, but if we still use, okay, let's get info. If we use the previous rune, I'm in the file invoice. Huh? So let's still, with that rune, that was the previous rune, that is that allows us to do a get and list command. So we are able to do the get info too. We go to the terminal. We run this one to catch if we did the what is get info is not defined. Maybe here it's better. So that way we catch any errors at that time. So this is the scope of the get info. So we can do the get info. Now, we've said that we want a rune we are not going to do a rune unrestricted. We are going to do a rune directly with a restriction with method equal invoice. So L1, no, L2, CLI, commando-rune, and we can pass null because we have so let's see again, because maybe it's clear for me, but not for you right now. So commando-rune, it takes a rune or nothing for a new runes, and we pass it a restriction, and the restriction is an array of the things that we've seen before with the sign equal, with the method, and we can see that it has some languages. So it is called each restriction, blah, blah, blah. Okay, alternatives use a simple language to examine the command which is being run. So we have time, ID, method, rate, penum, name X, and the parameters and the number. So this is the thing that we can use in our alternatives and the restriction. So at that point, we put the restriction, which is going to be, we have that, and the restriction is, so this is an array of alternatives. So method, and we want the method to be only invoice. We do that, we add that, and maybe we get an error, but I hope no. So this is a new one. Let's copy that and check that this restrict only to the method invoice. So we did it before, but this is so -k string, and we see the alternative and the restriction with the summary. So this rune allow only the method equal to invoice. Okay, so this is the only method that we can use. And now we are going to use that rune. So I will copy it. I copy it. I'll go back to invoice. We change that that rune. So this is a new rune that allow only invoice. So how can we write that? So only invoice. And now if we try to use it, we should have an error. So we get an error. We are not dealing properly in the script to catch the errors that we can make because we don't have time to write properly a script, but we can see how it works. So the errors that we get from is that non-authorized method is not equal to invoice. So the only thing that we can do is generate invoice. Okay, it's fine. This was the first thing that we wanted to do. And with the code, create an invoice. So let's create an invoice. What does an invoice need? So I don't have the. See. So the command invoice, we are going to do a commando, and sorry, there is something in the chat, so I will okay, cool, check. So keep on going. Perfect. Thank you for telling me that. We are on the game. So we have the invoice. So we are going to do a commando from the invoice script, and we are going to send an invoice to L2. And so the invoice needs some parameters. So we've seen before the getinfo didn't use the parameter, but now we need those parameters. So I will take those parameters. We go back to the invoice here. We change. So first thing that we change, it's no longer info, but invoice. And the only thing that changed is at that point. So we don't need what we have at the top, and we are just in the if connected. The parameter, and we do this. Okay, so this time I won't make the error to pass those things with. No, I'm not sure. Okay, let's try that and see if we get the error. So 10,000 millisats. We need a label. So the label is internal for lightning. So I put any label, maybe label 0. I prefer to put have for invoice and description. We don't care really. Description. Okay. So this should do the work. So we are now in commando. We do the method is invoice, the param is amount on millisats, the label it's if have -0, and the description. And important, this is we pass the rune that allow to do invoices, because we do a commando. So we are connected to the node, and we are going to see that. And normally this should work, and we should see the invoice. So let's do that. Okay, cool. So yes, this is working. So we get an invoice from the node 2. We can check various things. So first things, CLI list invoices. So invoices, yes. So we have one invoice that we generated, and we can check that with the label, which is 0. And let's make the node 2 pay that invoice. L1 CLI pay that invoice. Cool, and the invoice has been paid. So we are almost at what we wanted to do, but something that could be interesting to do is we are two things more. Let's see how we can add the restriction with the rate to be 5. So we are going to add a restriction to the previous rune that we have, and we are going to spam it with more things. So one things that we can do first. Before we do that, I will just change here, because the label must be unique. So we will make it unique. I'm writing the wrong way. So have, and now we can use mat.random. We call that, and we don't care exactly what it looks like. It's just that if we do that, we are going to be able to produce multiple invoices. So let's go back to the terminal. If we don't do that, we couldn't do the invoice again. That so far we don't have command line arguments. So we see we have that, and if we list the invoices, we see that the label has changed, and so we can generate many of those things. So let's do it. So for EI in, we are going to generate 5. This is just a little bit of bash, and we do that. See that right now we can do maybe yes, 5. It's okay, and done. And we're going we generate those invoices. So we have no rate, and if we do it again, up we go on and on. So this is not what we want. We want to put a rate. So let's go back to invoice, and we are going to add a restriction to the rune that we already have here. The main page of commando-rune. Go back here, so we can pass the rune and we can add the restriction as we did before, an array of alternatives. You are okay with me? You follow along with me? Go back to the terminal. This is a node 2 commando-rune. We passed, we passed the rune, and now we want the restriction. So which is up? This is rate 5. We just want 5, and we do that. Okay, so when okay, so this happened several times when I was preparing the things. So when you see the rune, when the rune is base 64 encoded, and there is sometimes a padding at the end that is that uses the equal sign, and when this happens in the rune, we have to pass exactly key value to make it work. So we have to pass it rune, and this is going to work. And for the restriction here, we have to pass the restriction. So we use key value restrictions key value pair, and now this works. Let's do this the same thing as we did previously. So L2 to decode to see exactly commando decode, and the same thing as the rune, and with the equal sign we have to use the dash key and key value pair. And we see that now the runes that we had before, we added restrictions. So one thing to note with the runes is that when we have runes, we can't remove alternatives. So we can't remove a restriction, but we can add, and this is what we did here. So the rate makes a max per minute is equal to 5. And now let's use that rune. So let's go back to invoice. Is it a different one? Yes, this is a different one. So we can do this like that. Up, rune only invoice, and rate equal to 5. So we've changed the rune, and normally we still can create invoices, but we no longer can do more than 5 per minute. So I hope this is working as expected. The only thing that we did, this is really super powerful. Huh? So I think that you've seen that, but really you can really, with no effort and with a lot of security, give access to some part of your node with just one command line. Okay, so we have one new one. Let's try to do the for loop that we have before. So we are just going to do just one, just for. So let's do for. This is going to work. And now, if we want to do it again, boom. You've seen that. I've seen it too. So not authorized, rate of 5 per minute exceeded. So this is the way we can rate limit, and we can also do that with the time. So we can put restriction and time. We can put restriction on the node ID and the node IDs. So to let some node IDs do something, some other that don't do something. So this is really a really powerful tool, and we are really almost done. So we've done the restriction, we've done all the things, but let's just add for the fun and to get it really done entirely the command line argument, so that we are going to have that was advertised at the beginning, something that a CLI written in nodejs that use lnmessage, that connect to the node and use commando to generate invoices. So we are almost done, and maybe to not make mistakes. So I have those nodes that I didn't. I look some of them, but not every, to be sure. Let's take that for the argument, so that we are not going to go back to the terminal. Just 1 minute path. So we can now do it again, and if we do more of that, this won't let us, if we do that, more of 5 more. And if we are connected, we take, so process argument, we take the last two, not the last one, but we don't take the first two one, which has the path of the node binary, and the second one is the path of the script. We set those variables. So the first one is going to be amount and millisat, and the description. So amount and sat. The description, because we want to pass the description. So now this is set like that description. So this is going to work. And the label, we need a unique label. CLN node need unique labels for creating invoices. But let's say that this is not something that we want to show to the end user. So let's try that. And I think that I 10,000, and we want a pizza invoice. This is it seems to works correctly. And now we can let the node L1 pay. Oh, sorry, pay that invoice. Okay, doesn't let me copy as I want it to do. The last thing, it's a little bit okay. So I'm going to pass pay, and we've paid it. So let's go to our note. It was a bit long, but I really hope that you enjoy that session, that we learn something, and maybe the one important thing is that commando-rune is really powerful, and it's one command line to get access to the node, and the only thing that we need is to so this was great. Thank you. So Chuck, I really I'm happy that you like the live and the session. And as I was saying, use rune. The only thing that really is needed for libraries to work. So lnmessage also lnsocket. So use those libraries. And the only thing that is needed is a way for the libraries of the application to connect to the node. So if you have one more question, I take question, and if not, Joe. So 15 minutes more than the limit that I said at the beginning, but I hope this was cool.
Totally fine, Tony. We appreciate you doing this. This was a lot of fun. This was kind of mind-blowing.
Yes, yes, it's a really one of the session that is really cool, and many people can take advantage of commando and commando runes. I think so. Thank you guys, thank you Chuck, thank you Drew, and Todd and everybody, and we see in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Have a good one, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you.